What if I told you that this simple ballpoint pen took over 50 years and a world war to perfect?
Hey, my name is SB, and you're watching Thunderworld. You've used a ballpoint pen your entire life, but have you ever wondered why it took so long to invent one that didn't leak? Before the ballpoint,
The world wrote with fountain pens, and anyone who used one understood.
daily struggle. A sudden blotch appears, a dark pool of ink spreading across the page, ruining your work. Or perhaps you place the pen in your shirt pocket, only to find it has leaked, leaving a stubborn dark stain. Fountain pens required constant, careful refilling from an inkwell, a messy process that often stained fingers and clothes. The ink was slow to dry, meaning a careless sleeve could smudge a freshly written sentence into an unreadable mess. For left-handed writers, the problem was even worse. The first person to seriously tackle this challenge was an American inventor named John J. Loud. Loud was a leather tanner, and he was frustrated. He needed a way to mark his hides. A fountain pen was useless on the rough, textured surface of leather. In 1888, he patented a design for what he called a rolling pointed fountain marker. His idea was brilliant in its simplicity, a small steel ball held in a socket at the pen's tip. Loud's invention worked, at least for his specific purpose. But when he tried to adapt his invention for writing on paper, it failed spectacularly. It was like trying to paint a delicate watercolor with a house painting roller. Loud's patent eventually expired, and his invention faded into obscurity. He had the right idea, but the wrong execution. László Bíró was a Hungarian journalist who, like everyone else, was fed up with his fountain pen. One day, while visiting a newspaper printing plant, he had a moment of insight. He watched the giant rollers applying ink to paper with incredible speed and precision. He noticed that the ink used for newspapers dried almost instantly and left a clean, smudge-free impression. Why, he wondered, couldn't a pen use this kind of ink? He immediately rushed to try it, filling a fountain pen with the thick, fast-drying printer's ink. It didn't work. He remembered the old failed idea of a ball and socket mechanism. A rolling ball could physically pull the thick ink from the cartridge. It was the perfect marriage of two separate ideas, John Loud's mechanism and the printing press's ink. Working with his brother Georgi, a chemist, Biro began to experiment. They needed to perfect the system. The ball had to be machined with incredible precision so that it would turn freely, but not be so loose that it would leak. They had to formulate an ink that was thick enough not to leak, but thin enough to be drawn out by the tiny rotating ball. After years of painstaking work, they finally succeeded. It didn't leak, it didn't smudge. As World War II began, the Biro brothers fled Hungary to Argentina. Fountain pens were a nightmare for pilots. At high altitudes, the lower air pressure would cause the pens to leak uncontrollably, creating a mess in the cockpit. The Biro pen was the perfect solution. The British Royal Air Force licensed the rights and began producing Biro pens for their air crews. In 1945, Milton Reynolds launched his Reynolds rocket at Gimbel's department store in New York. The advertising promised a miraculous pen that could write for 2 years without refilling. Thousands of people lined up. The store sold its entire stock of 10,000 pens on the very first day. The ballpoint pen had arrived. As manufacturing techniques improved, prices plummeted, and the pen transformed from an expensive novelty into a cheap, disposable commodity. It changed the way people wrote, making the act more casual, more portable, and more accessible than ever before. The journey from a leaky fountain pen to the reliable ballpoint in your hand is a perfect reminder that even the simplest objects have extraordinary stories. What other everyday items are hiding a history of failure, genius, and revolution? Subscribe to Thunderworld and discover the surprising stories behind the objects you use every day.